Okay, this morning I got an email from the NAACP saying that today was National Black Voter Day, and they were trying to tell me why it's important. I was kind of thrown by that. The reality is that it's not important at all. In fact, the right to vote is an illusion of participation. It's not participation, especially because you have to have choices that you want to choose when you go to the ballot box for you to participate. But the reality is that your right to participate is a deeper issue. And it goes to the assembly of the most numerous legislative branch, which in most places, states, is the House, and in federal government it's the House. It's the most numerous legislative branch. And there's some very serious requirements for assembling the most numerous legislative branch. In our system of government, the most important governing institution is the Senate. Why? Because it's a democracy of the states. All the states are assembled as equals with equal suffrage to reach a majority consensus. For every decision that is made on the federal government level, it has to have a concurrence of all the states as equals. And they decide what that majority consensus requirement is, whether it's a simple majority or if it's a 2/3 majority, depending on if it's a law or if it's a treaty, which means either it's domestic policy or it's foreign policy. But the most important assembly is the most numerous legislative branch, which must be an exact representation of the population that assembles that branch of the government. So for the state government, it has to be an exact representation of the full demographic diversity of the state population. If it's 40% white, 20% Hispanic, or 30 or 15 or something percent black, that's exactly what that most numerous legislative branch must be. Why? Because we have equality of participation, and we can only participate in that legislative branch. And we have to participate there as equals. To do what? To identify and rank choices. That's where our rights are protected, is in that branch of the government, because they can't pass laws to determine what our rights are. Okay? We don't have to beg anybody for our rights. Civil rights, to be treated as equals. Where do we get that from? We get that by participating in the most numerous legislative branch. Not by voting for these parties and these basically white people who are denying you your doggone rights. You're expecting them to give you some rights, bestow some rights on you. You are fighting for something that you're already entitled to. And if you don't understand that, then we got some real problems. And the reality is that today that we are empowered through education. We need to be educated to be empowered, because we need to know what our rights are and how we are empowered. before we can be empowered. This National Voting Day, it doesn't mean anything. Because when you go to the voting booth, you have a binary choice from somebody else who decided what the issues were on that ballot. Binary choice. Yes, no, either or. We're going to go to the voting booth in November and choose between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. You mean to tell me that in 340 million people, where 200 or more million people meet the qualifications for holding the office of president, that we only have two choices, that a majority of all the people don't want either one? Or that we empower the parties to lead and govern, and we empower these politicians as leaders and decision makers, when the Democrats are only like 13% of the people. The Republicans are like 11. So when they win with 12% of the people. When Donald Trump won in 2016, he only had the votes of 18% of all the people. And the requirement is a majority of all the people to be elected based on the votes of the electors. A majority. And if they don't get a majority, then the top people form a ballot, and then the states choose from those top people. And there must be a majority of all the states to elect a president from those top choices. Who gets to decide the choices? We do. And every person on that ballot, on that list, comes from us, not from the parties. They don't do. They're not a go-between or manager or the HR and decide what candidates we should choose from. People, you all need to get a grip on yourselves, because this notion that the act of voting is democracy and it's how you participate is totally ignorant. I'm sorry to say that to you that way. Thank you.